Episode 153 of Australia's #1 marketing show. Listen in as four-time Australian Retail Business of the Year winner tells us why retail is dead and why wearing a mullet wig and sunnies improves your cold calling.
Welcome to the Small Business Big Marketing Show, where successful small business owners share their secrets to take your marketing to the next level. Now here's your host, Tim Reid.
G'day everyone and welcome back to another episode of Australia's #1 marketing show. I am your host, Timbo Reid, but you, so much more importantly, are a motivated small business owner ready to crank out some great marketing. And boy, oh boy, if you listen to this episode in its entirety today, that is what you are going to be able to do. We are also brought to you by the very good folk at Net Registry, who are there to get your online marketing sorted. It doesn't matter whether you just want to register a domain name, get a website hosted, maybe designed and developed, a bit of search engine optimization love, a bit of pay-per-click advertising. These guys at Net Registry are there to help you. So give them a ring. Go to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com, click on the Net Registry banner, or go to Net Registry Direct, netregistry.com.au. They are there to get your online marketing sorted, and they make this show possible. That's why we love them so much. I want to welcome also everyone from the Flying Solo community. Oh boy, today's episode. Yes, I am excited. I've just finished an interview with Brad Smith, who is the founder and owner of Braaap. And I'll explain what that is in a minute. Suffice to say that he is one of Australia's most successful young entrepreneurs. And boy, oh boy, we have got some marketing gold dripping from the Small Business Big Marketing studio, let me tell you. I have also got a vehicle signage question that has been asked in the Small Business Big Marketing Forum. And I have also got some beautiful listener feedback and a question from a listener as well. So we've got so much to cover. Let's get stuck right in. Okay, so we've got a question in the Small Business Big Marketing Forum all about vehicle signage. Nick asks, what are the rules for vehicle signage? And he says he's learned a ton from the podcast in this forum, remarketing and SEO and branding, but he has a question about getting his car covered with his brand. Any resources or guidelines for classy yet attention-getting vehicle signage would be appreciated. I don't want to include my name and I don't want a phone number. I don't want people calling me or commenting on my driving. Not asking for someone to give me all the answers, just need an answer on an idea on where to start. So we've got some really good answers from other members within the forum. And then what I've gone and done is contacted a vehicle signage company in Melbourne. I Googled vehicle signage, see who came to the top and gave them a buzz. Got through to the head honcho, Ian, and he very kindly did a short 15-minute interview with me about what makes for great vehicle signage. You can listen to that whole interview in the Small Business Big Marketing Forum. Suffice to say that he had 5 tips. He said, number 1, keep it simple. Great marketing concept, full stop. Keep it simple, stupid. Marketing communication should be simple. Number 2, website may have better conversion than phone number. That's interesting. There's a lot of discussion in the forum as to what's the best call to action. In Ian's experience, the website has better conversion than the phone number. I certainly find myself, and another forum member, Arne, also talked about the fact that we're taking photos. I don't know about you, but grabbing the smartphone and taking a photo of a car that you see, that has a web address or a phone number that you may want to contact in the future. I only did it the other day, actually. Ian said try a QR code. I'm not sure about that. These old QR codes, I'm not sure whether people know what to do with them, but try a QR code on your vehicle signage. Keep the design consistent with all your other touch points. This is a big one, that consistency of touch points, so that when I see your branded car and I go to your website, there's the same design cues as there is on your business card and your letterhead and your ad and your uniform and all that type of stuff. So a nice consistency between vehicle signage and all your other marketing touch points. And finally, Ian says, be disciplined by not trying to say everything. And that's a great tip because, as small business owners, we do try and say everything. And, with a vehicle, you haven't got that much space and it's got to pass the 60, 80, 100 kilometre an hour test. So it's really about branding, maybe one message and a call to action. So that was a great question Nick asked in the forum. Guys, if you want to get into the Small Business Big Marketing Forum, head over to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com, click on the forum button. Takes you about a minute to register. $49 a month. I'm in there every day asking and answering questions along with a whole lot of other motivated small business owners. So I get this great message from a listener on the Small Business Big Marketing Facebook just this week. And his name is Peter, and it's a tough surname to pronounce, but I'll give it a go. Peter Prokwica. There you go. I've done my best. He says, "Hi, Timbo. I just want to say thank you for all your great podcasts. I've learned a lot over the last months. I immigrated with my wife and little daughter 2 years ago from Europe. I'm a representative of German manufacturer of cool sliding doors called Raumplus, Ramplus.com, and they are very cool. I've had a look at them. Unfortunately, I have to finance everything myself, and Sydney is a very expensive place. Oh, yeah. That's why I'm so grateful for all your tips and advice. I'm sure that I've saved myself lots of trouble and money." Good stuff, Pete. I hope you have too, mate. "It's been a very difficult 2 years for our small family, but I'm doing my best to make my dream happen, and I'll make my brand recognisable in Australia." Pete, you're doing a good thing already, mate. I've had a look at your marketing. The website for Raumplus is beautiful. I know that's not yours specifically. That's for the manufacturer, but it is beautiful. And you've got a Facebook fan page, which is facebook.com/Raumplus Australia. And I would suggest, if anyone's interested in fancy looking wardrobes, check it out. Pete goes on to say, "Your feedback would be highly appreciated. Every time I have a hard time, I listen to one of your podcasts and it makes me feel motivated again. Thank you one more time." And he kindly offers me up a wardrobe. That's very kind. Pete, that's a really, really nice message. Thanks so much for that. Keeps me going, those types of messages. Let me give you some tips on what you could be doing to just further build the Raumplus brand in Australia. Get a Pinterest, mate. Pinterest is made for a product like yours. I'd have Pinterest boards by room, probably. Different rooms, different wardrobes. I think that's an absolute no-brainer. And really build that out. And it'll be a great reference point for prospects and customers to go to see your work along with your website and your Facebook. Number two, I think a before and after video series is a no-brainer. Now, we're not talking Hollywood productions here, Pete, but I do think the idea of actually taking a video of a cavity or an old wardrobe where you then go in and weave your magic and put in one of these beautiful wardrobes that Raumplus do would make for really compelling viewing for anyone looking for a wardrobe. Funnily enough, we move house tomorrow and absolutely have a need for some very elegant wardrobes. And so a video like that of a before and after gives me a sense of how good you guys are and what my options are. Mate, the third thing I would do is probably look at doing some joint ventures, some JVs with real estate agents, with tradespeople like painters and plumbers and sparkies, because they have got the attention of your audience. They're going into homes and fixing stuff and may well come across people who are needing wardrobes. So have a think about other businesses that have the attention, have the eyeballs and the ears of prospects that you want to get in front of and do joint ventures with them. It may simply be having them promote you, get the word out. You may do some kind of commission structure, some affiliate structure where upon a referral that converts, maybe for a referral you give them a bottle of champagne, for a converted referral you give them something more. So Pete, mate, thank you so much for being a listener to the show. Congratulations on coming to Australia and starting that business, and I wish you all the luck with it, mate. Okay, it's time for today's special guest, and he is a very, very special guest. His name is Brad Smith. He's 26 years old, and he would be one of Australia's most successful young entrepreneurs. He is a fascinating guy. He started a motorcycle brand in Australia called Braaap, Triple AP, Braaap motorbikes, much more than motorbikes, as you're going to find out. He is building a seriously big lifestyle brand, and it's exciting stuff. Have a listen to the awards Brad's won and his team. 2-time Australian Young Entrepreneur of the Year, runner-up International Young Entrepreneur of the Year, Telstra Business of the Year, and Australian Retail Business of the Year, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times. And we cover so much marketing ground in this interview. We talk about the importance of vision. We talk about the retail future. We talk about the importance of the power of concept stores. Cold calling and selling is covered. The power of storytelling. And guys and girls, that is just the start. We cover so much marketing ground. I'm repeating myself a little bit in this episode, I'm finding, but it's that emphasis that I need to put in to some of these things that we cover. I'm excited. Brad's an excitable young man. He's got this bloke is wiser than his years. I tell you what, if I knew what Brad knew when I was 26, then maybe I'd have a motorcycle brand. I don't know, but he's a wise guy and we have a really good chat about entrepreneurship and about starting your own business and how he's marketed Braaap over the years. We then head into some personal development stuff because he's right into kind of being your best. So that's interesting in itself. I've got to put a warning on this one, ladies and gentlemen. Lock the kids up. There is a language warning on it. And there is also a seagull warning on it. Enough from me. Here's Brad Smith of Braaap. Brad Smith from Braaap and that seagull in the background. Welcome to Small Business Big Marketing.
Thank you very much for having me. We're got the seagulls here. We're keeping it real.
Mate, I love a bit of sound effect. Hey, Brad, thanks for joining us. I want to start by asking you, and I reckon you've probably got a few, but pick one. What's your superpower?
Man, that's a tough question. I think the most important thing is vision. If you got a vision, you can aspire to it yourself. It gives you purpose. You got a reason to wake up in the morning, and you got something that other people, your team, can cling to. So I think that having a good vision and making sure people can be clear on that vision and see their part in that vision as well has been probably our most powerful tool.
Right. What's your vision?
Our vision with Braaap, we have different visions for, obviously personally and for our business, but let's talk about Braaap. And our vision is to make motorcycling more affordable and more accessible. So, more families could experience what I did growing up. And it's been a really crazy journey in doing that. When I grew up, the motorcycles we raced on a 450cc, the bikes are $12,000. We just won a world championship on a bike that retails at $4,000.
Tell me, one of the things, when I hear that vision of making bikes more accessible, I'm keen to dig a bit deeper on that and understand why. I remember, John Simons from Aussie Home Loans.
Yeah.
His why, and for overseas listeners, Aussie Home Loans is a big mortgage provider in Australia. And John's why he does what he does, which is like your vision, is that he believes that putting a roof over people's heads keeps families together and stops kids from going off the rails. So your vision of making motorcycling more accessible is, I reckon there's something deeper there.
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
what is it?
Our whole mission is to get young people involved in activity so they get a clean adrenaline rush from action sports and clean adrenaline platforms such as motorcycling, rather than from drugs, crime, and violence. And we do that by building programs.
There it is.
Yeah, and we do that by building programs where, we have the family that plays together, stays together, where we put events on where dads come and ride with their sons. We do things where we go camping or race events where, just mates go riding together and have fun and, outdoors, active with their mates and friends and family.
So, Brad, that is... that's sort of their kind of marketing channels for Braaap. So Braaap makes bikes, it sells clothes, it sells motorbike clothes. I don't know what the terminology is. It's like it's a lifestyle motorcycle brand, and in order to market it, besides any kind of traditional channels, you're putting on events and bringing people together. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one part of it for sure. And it's also what we love to do. So predominantly we're a motorcycle manufacturer. We're the only Australian motorcycle company. We design the bikes here in Australia, but we have manufacturing partners all around the world. We have Japanese engine, French frame, Canadian suspension, European exhaust, parts from Australia and Tasmania. Then we bring it all back to Australia where we do our assembly and final production. And then we retail and distribute the bikes, through our concept stores, which is like what you spoke about before. It's our Braaap lifestyle. We have all the fashion. We have foam pits and ramps inside our stores so kids can come and do a jump on their BMX and land in big pits of foam and not get hurt, but have fun. We have all the protective gear, mechanics, workshops. Then close by to our shop, we always have a track and coaching program so we can teach people of all ages how to ride a motorcycle. And we think that everyone should have the opportunity to ride a motorcycle and feel that adrenaline at some point. So we make it free to learn to ride.
Oh, mate, I love that.
And then on top of that, we distribute the bikes to dealerships where we can't or don't have concept stores of our own. So we sell our bikes through Yamaha, Honda, Kawasaki and KTM stores. And we do that in Australia, New Zealand. We just launched in the UK and America as well. So, and next year our plan is really pushing to France, Italy and Indonesia. So it's exciting times for us.
Yeah, very exciting times. So tell me, well, I don't think I've spoken previously to a guest about this whole concept of a brand experience and concept stores. So you obviously walk into a store and it's much more than just looking at a row of bikes. You've got things for people to do. Is that something is that a key part of the sales process for you?
Oh, 100%. Our whole mission with our retail and our concept stores is to attach experience to a retail, the retail environment. Because in my opinion, retail is dead unless you attach emotion, unless you attach experience. And we do that through our ramps, through our Learn to Ride program, through our racing. We're just about to take our bike and our whole concept to street legal, which is a whole new venture for us. And we've got to work out, and we have worked out how to make that an experience as well.
Tell me about that retail is dead. You kind of just flipped that out. You just kind of put that on the table and rode off.
I'm happy to throw that. I'm a retailer. Predominantly,
yes.
I'm a retailer. And my business, as much as we distribute, we are retailers, because even if I distribute to another store, they've got to retail my bike. So we are retailers, but retailers, we know it is dead.
Mate, I couldn't agree more. And, you only have to walk into a big retailer like a Myers or a David Jones and there's no experience, A, so there's no emotion. There's just a whole lot of racks of stuff. B, trying to find service, someone to help you with a size, or with me, what colour socks should I wear with those Daks, or should I match my shoes? There's no one that's impossible. So, they aren't helping the case. So what a retailer's got to do, is it all about offering experience?
Oh, 100%. No one buys a product. No one buys a price. They always buy what's the reason they're purchasing? What's the emotion? What's the feeling they're chasing? And retailers have opportunity to give that. There will always be successful retail in Western world. It needs to be. As much as online's taking over and coming fast, as retailers, we've got to embrace that and work out how we can use our online to generate leads and create experience. But then our actual physical retail stores to work out how to attach emotion, how to attach meaning, and how to make sure that experience actually gets had. Like for us, one of those big experiences, butts on seats. Like you can come in and look at a bike all day. I can show you videos all day to get you pumped on riding. But through retail and our actual physical stores, I can get your butt on a seat, get you on a bike, start the bike. You can feel when you rev the throttle, the engine rev, and you can get that feeling that you'll never forget.
You're using emotional words like feel, and listeners to my show will hear me talk about brand ad infinitum, and it's all about an emotional attachment. You've got to build that emotion between you and the prospect, and at that point, emotion's so much harder to break than, say, a rational transaction of something based on price, or something rational. So you're playing right into that whole brand thing.
Oh, it's so true. I watched the Steve Jobs movie last night, and I love one of his quote. He said, "I don't want to be a Me Too product. We're here to change the world." I thought, isn't that interesting?
Yeah, love it. As I say, my favourite branding quote is, people can copy what you do, but not who you are. So, there's no shortage of bike retailers, but you're creating something that you're creating a concept and an emotion that they're not going to find it hard to copy. Tell me, I'm interested to continually dig deeper on that retail thing, because from what I understand, you're goaling for 50 franchises in 5 years. So that's a big goal, and B, that says that you are out there looking for more what I call high street presence, like bricks and mortar shops. So retail's, can I qualify your retail as dead by saying retail is dead in its current form, but the bricks and mortar retail store is here to stay?
100%. And I love the controversy of that statement. And
yes.
And because, no longer can we use hope as our growth strategy. More businesses, especially in retail in Australia, have gone broke or bankrupt in the last 3 years than any other time in, recent history. But the reason is because most business owners stand behind the counter and they hope that people walk through the door. They hope that people choose their product. And no longer as leaders can we think local and linear. We've got to think, we compete globally and exponentially against, there's people from all around the world competing for our customer. So 100% agree that retail in its current form is dead, but retail will always have its position because people need to be able to physically, you're never going to replace presence. And that's what retail is. It's the gift of time. It's presence.
Hey, absolutely. I think about concept stores as being expensive beasts, but I can also see a reason for every type of retailer providing some kind of hands-on experience. Like I went to Lush the other day with my daughter, that sort of soapy shop. I don't even know what it is. Amazing though. Like, talk about, immerse the senses. Pretty hard not to when you're dealing in soaps and body scrubs and things, but. Yeah. Look at that and go, yeah, it's probably not that expensive. They're just they're presenting their product beautifully and letting us try every single, touch and feel. And from what I understand, even Lush stores in the UK have even got baths and spas. But is it necessarily an expensive strategy?
No, I don't think so. I mean, the thing is, you just got to make someone feel good. And what they've done for you, as soon as you walk into a Lush store, you feel this, you smell the scent and you hear the music, and instantly you're in that sort of that peaceful place. And that's what they sell. They don't really sell soap. They sell that feeling that, whatever the feeling they're trying to sell to you guys is, which is, I think, is peace, probably, or freedom.
I don't know. I think you're right. I mean, and again, be a lot of small business owners who struggle with this concept, Brad, of going, what you just said, rationally a soap store, emotionally selling peace.
It's so true. Well, that's an interesting comment as well, is that so many, like we deal with motorcycle dealers, in lots of different parts of the world. And the biggest challenge we have is teaching people to be salespeople, as in most people in retail are order takers. They stand behind a counter and they process an order. That job is done. You go to the local supermarket and, more people go through the automated checkout now than they do to the human checkout. The salesman's job is to communicate, to talk to the person as if they're their best friend and share that whole emotion experience and give that presence. And it's interesting us trying to, teach people how to do that.
Well, okay, the next question, because I speak to so many small business owners and it's the people thing that freaks them out. They're finding it hard to get good staff, to retain good staff, and the business owners finding it hard to pass on their vision, their why, their beliefs, their brand values to staff. One that come to mind recently that I interviewed, Michael Crawford from the Henry Jones Hotel in Hobart, has this whole vision of like, guys, we offer black tie service with a blue jean attitude. And he met every week and offered that up to his staff and just kind of drilled it home. How do you do it? Because it almost feels like you got to give people skin in the game in order for them to buy into your vision. How do you get your staff to buy into what you want to build?
Yeah, well, firstly, I think that our staff love the sense of accomplishment. They love the idea that we're creating something big, and they love seeing that we're putting rubber on the ground, we're underdogs, punching above our weight, fighting the big guys. So firstly, it's that vision and making sure we always remind ourselves of that vision. Every morning when we have a team meeting, we always talk about a great story. Like one of our sales guys will have a great story from a customer who loves what we do, or, that flagship customer. So firstly, share that, because that's the reason we do what we do. The second thing is to make sure that we measure the activities that drive our business, because I think that salespeople across the world are holding back businesses, especially small business owners, by telling them the bullshit story on why they can't do what they need to do. So what we found, that we were so focused on results, as in make this many sales or create this many customers, that we lost focus, and so many businesses are the same. They lost focus on what actually drives those outcomes. So for us, the big question was, how many leads are we generating to make sure that we get those customers based on our conversion rate? And then we had to work out what it took to generate those leads and increase those conversions. And for us, it was outbound calls. We needed to make sure that we were talking to people, communicating to people, and getting them to the track to have a ride, to have an experience. If it's a kid learning to ride, get a demo bike and get his dad on the bike with him. If it's a mate learning to ride, get his friends down there and get them to learn to ride as well. So we had to start to measure the activities that created the results.
Who are you outbound calling?
Potential leads. So a lot of our leads, we do cold calling and we also do warm calling. So if someone looks on our website and puts an inquiry in, or if, our guys all have KPIs. So for example, each salesman has to sell 100 bikes a year on their own. So for example, in the past, we would have a team meeting on Friday and we'd sit down and go, how'd you go for the week? And one guy would be like, I smashed it. The next guy would be like, I wasn't too good because it rained on my ride day. It's cold. People are waiting for their pay to come in. They tell you all the stories.
Yeah.
Now we worked out that outbound calls had an exact relationship to sales. So these guys, they got to sell 100 bikes a year. We worked out their conversion rate on people who came and had a ride on our bike was 25%. So then we worked out that if they taught 8 people how to ride or gave 8 riding experiences per week each, times 52, that's 400 people a year. Based on their 25% conversion rate, they had 100 bikes that they could sell per year that they could control. Not people walking in off our other marketing, bikes that they could control. So now each salesman knows that they've got to give 8 experiences per week to a customer that we haven't given one to before. So the other day we were sitting down having a team meeting, and one of our sales guys who's been our number one sales guy, he goes, holy shit, I don't have 8 people booked in this week. What am I going to do? I've only got 3 people booked in and tomorrow's ride day. So he just got his clipboard out and went around town. He went to the local sandwich shop. He went to the real estate agency. He's just inviting anyone to come and learn to ride because he knows that 25% of them will buy.
Wow. And what struck me there, like what didn't, but one major thing is that you've got that cold calling thing can freak a lot of small businesses out, and particularly, sales staff. What you've got is something really interesting to offer. Do you have a weekly ride day outside of the store, do you?
Well, this is what happened. I banned test rides. I banned learn to ride 2 years ago. I said, I think so the experience, the idea of the experience will say come for a test ride. And then you've got risk of people not turning up. People, they don't get the sale experience on the day. They delay the sale, and that's risky. So I banned it because I wasn't measuring it. I was measuring results, not the activities that create the results. So my guys talked me into doing a few tests just to prove that learn to ride days and test ride days worked. And we started to measure, and we realized that we had a 25% conversion rate. And then we realized it was something we could control. So that's how we sort of came to that conclusion that we needed to offer that experience.
Yeah, well, then you've got the opportunity to, and in that experience, it's emotional. People are enjoying themselves. Their guard is down. They're just having conversations between your people and them. It's just a conversation. Then it's not. I don't imagine there's any hard sell.
Not at all. We always say we're not salespeople, we're their friends. Mm-hmm. And if it's good for them, if we believe in what we're doing, they're having fun and they're high-fiving you, why wouldn't they want to come join us?
Correct. Now, tell me, so many questions here looking at what's next. Tell me, you've got a fair amount of awards, and I'm wanting to know what they mean to you and the business. Let me reel them off. 2-time Australian Young Entrepreneur of the Year, runner-up International Young Entrepreneur of the Year, Telstra Business of the Year, and Australian Retail Business of the Year 4 times. Handy, nice awards, but do they mean anything from a marketing sense?
Oh, from a marketing sense, 100%. That's the reason you do it. You get nominated for these awards. It's a lot of work to do with the questions and all the stuff that they throw at you. But from a credibility point of view, as an underdog, a small business trying to punch above our weight, that credibility, that exposure is, you can't buy that.
So what's it do for you? It pumps everyone up. Boys, girls, we won again. What's it do for sales?
Well, firstly, it sets the standard. You come to work for Braaap. We're 4-time Australian Retail Business of the Year. This is our standard. If you're in, you're in. If you're not, this is not the place for you. We're a high-performance team. We're pushing hard, and everyone creates their own value. Everyone pushes forwards. It's a fun, young, abundant, and high-performance team. And that's firstly the most important thing is it sets the standard. It sets an expectation, and then secondly, for PR-wise, just the exposure that it gets, which gives us the ability to market the product, but also it makes people want to come and work for us.
Yeah, okay. Tell me, I want to talk one more marketing question, then I want to move into some sort of life lesson stuff, because I know you're very much into personal constant improvement, Brad. But from a marketing point of view, I love this concept of 1%ers, going that extra mile, getting the 99% right that we've all got to get right, but then that wow. And I've heard you say before, you got to do more than you're paid to do.
Yeah.
How do you guys where are those 1%ers that you offer?
Oh, they're everywhere. Firstly, we make our people stand on their feel like they're on their toes because we always share stories. And every day, every few days, we have team meetings and share a story of you never know who's watching. We share a story of the young guy who taught a kid to ride, and we didn't realize at the time, but this young guy is an 18-year-old kid. He went to the track. Young Billy, his name is, that works for us. He teaches kids to ride all the time, and he gets kids from all walks of life, all sorts of families, rich, poor, happy to be there, people who've been dragged along, and he teaches them to ride. And we had one kid that he taught to ride, as a little autistic girl who it took a lot longer to teach her how to ride, and he stayed there like an hour after he'd knocked off, and an hour after everyone else had gone home, teaching this kid to ride. And we didn't realize at the time, and he definitely didn't realize at the time, but her dad was, really self-conscious about her learning to ride, and it was a big deal for the family. Mm-hmm. And at the end, when the little girl had learned to ride, they finished. The girl's given her a hug. The mum's come over. The dad was there, like well enough in his eyes. And the stories like that we share to say, it's sure to go do your job, and you taught someone to ride, you taught people to ride. You could have knocked off at 5 o'clock. But he did more than he was paid to do, did more than he was expected to do. And he didn't know who was watching. He didn't know what it meant for those parents and that young girl to learn to ride. It was a metaphor for her whole life. And with that person, that family still comes into our store, 2 years later and shares the experience with us. And every time they come in, they ask for Billy, and a little girl gives Billy a hug, and the dad shakes his hand, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, mate, I've got goosebumps. That's beautiful. And I think what it reminds us all of is the fact that every business, I don't care what you're selling. I don't care if you're selling buttons or bikes. There's stories. There's stories abound in our business. And you shouldn't have to look too far for them. And I think maybe often, Brad, business owners kind of just glaze over them. Don't look for them, glaze over them, don't attach importance to them. But storytelling is one of the oldest arts.
Oh, it's so true. And so small business owners, it's so easy to get stuck on price and product, to fall in love with your product and with your price. And it's really bullshit, because no one buys on product or price. They buy on experience, position, emotion, and the feeling they get.
They'll never say that. Us customers will never say that.
No.
It's all about the product, the quality of the product, or, it's just like you don't buy an Apple computer going, oh, man, the plastic casing on that computer is amazing. Like, you just don't. I mean, it's all about what it does for you, how it makes you look, how it makes you feel. And that's emotion. Mate, I love this. I'm loving chatting to you. But listeners, I'm talking to Brad Smith at the ripe old age of 26. He owns Braaap, and he is knocking it out of the park on so many levels. Check out Braaap. It's braapp.com.au. Now, Brad, I want to talk self-improvement. I want to talk life. I want to get all a bit woo-woo, mate. So
let's do it.
I reckon there was no doubt for a minute. So I've got a few different categories or areas I want to cover. First of all, I think I already know the answer to this. Money or passion, which wins?
Both. And that's I have no problem talking about rich, because I don't know too many poor people who've made the impact that the rich people. Look at Bill Gates. How amazing is he? He was passionate about what he did. He was brilliant at what he did. And he made a lot of money doing what he did. And now he's using his skill set, his position, and his money and his wealth to make a huge difference in the world. And what are we going to remember him for? The guy who created some software system, or the guy who saved millions of lives and made an impact on millions of people, maybe billions of people across the world, what he's doing with his Gates Foundation now.
Yeah.
So a mix of both.
Mix of both. Love it. Now, you've also been known to say your ability to live outside your comfort zone is directly proportional to your ability to grow as a person. So let's talk about fear. Leaving the comfort zone, doing the same old thing. It's very comfortable and can often pay okay as well. So how do we address, as small business owners, fear and take the big leap?
I think we should backstep a step first and go into comfort. So many people get comfort and fulfillment mixed up. They cross the wires. No one's chasing comfort. You don't sit on your couch comfortable and feel fulfilled, feel inspired, feel like you contributed to the world, and feel like you're making a difference. Everyone's chasing fulfillment. And the difference between comfort and fulfillment, in my idea, is vision. If you've got a vision, you've got something you're working towards, and you become fulfilled by the process and the progress towards that vision. And I think the difference between fulfillment and comfort is that fulfillment is contribution, outbound, outside yourself driven, but comfort is 100% selfish, 100% self-focused. So that's the first thing I like to point out, because we've got to make sure that people realize we're not here to get comfortable. We're here to get fulfilled. We're here to make a difference and here to make impact. And the second thing is that it's so true. The biggest thing that holds most small business owners back, the biggest thing that holds most people back is their fear of rejection, their fear of fitting in. Most people would rather look good than get good. So we do a lot of thing at Braaap about making sure people are empowered by fear, because rejection is a part of growth. And we also talk about seeking rejection, because we know that with what we've got to do, and any business, any part of life, you're going to get rejected. The better you get, there's going to be more people who reject what you do. And we do a whole thing at Braaap here about seeking rejection and making sure our people are comfortable in their skin, empowered by rejection, because it's the process.
So how do I give me an example of seeking rejection?
Well, I'll give you an example. For example, we have to call up Yamaha, Honda, Kawasaki, KTM, Suzuki stores, and we call them up as their opposition, and we convince them to partner with us. And you can imagine the first conversation. If you're a Honda dealer and I call you up and I'm selling bikes in competition to you, generally you don't like me. And if I'm doing a good enough job, I've sold more bikes than you in the categories we compete than what they do. So generally it's a tough conversation, and there's a lot of rejection to deal with it. For example, we decided that we wanted to get the biggest dealership in the country, and we called this guy for 4 weeks. And our sales guy that was calling him Toby, and myself was involved, for 4 weeks. We called him every second day. And we told him our story about what we wanted, our vision, how we do cash flow positive guarantee for the dealer. There's no financial risk, lifetime warranty, all the stuff to get them to partner with us. And at the end, every day, he'd say, you know what, I love what you're about, love what you're doing. I've got 500 bikes on my floor. I've got every brand under the sun here. I don't need more motorbikes. Thanks for your help, but we're not interested. And that was the conversation. And then one day we drove there. It was a 12-hour drive. We loaded up the Braaap van. We put the 7 bikes in the back, our whole range, got our banners, our posters, our parts, and we drove up there. And we got, yeah, exactly. And we got there, and we called when we were about 5 minutes away and said, we're in town. We want to come and see you and show you who we are. And he said, look, it's been a no for the last month. It's a no today. It's going to be no in the future. It's a no. We said, no worries. We'll see you in 5 minutes. And he said, you can come to my store, but I'm not going to come out and see you. I'm too busy. I can't stop you from coming to the store, but I'm not going to come and speak to you. We said, no worries, see you in 5 minutes. Thanks heaps. So we rock up. We get there, had to wait for a car park because there's so many people at the store. And we finally get a car park, unload our Braaap van, all our colours, pull out our bikes, our parts, our banners. And it's a 50-metre walk from the car up to the showroom. And while we're walking, our hearts are racing out of our chests. We're nervous as hell because this guy said no to us, clear as day, rejected us for the last month and even 5 minutes ago. And here we are at his store. And we get up to the showroom floor, and we ask for the sales manager. And while we're waiting there for this sales manager, this well-dressed guy just beeline for us. He walks straight towards us, and he's red raw, and you can tell he's not happy. And he come up and he goes, is that you guys in my car park? We said, yeah. He goes, well, who the do you think you are? And I put my hand out and said, my name's Brad Smith, and this is Toby Wilkin next to me. We said, we didn't come here to piss you off. We just came here because, and then we just went through our story. And he was red raw, and he arms crossed, looking down, shaking his head. He said, come with me, pack your stuff up. No one takes over my car park. And it's a 50-metre walk back from the showroom down to the bikes, and we're just motor mouthing, just running our stories, nervous as hell, hearts beating through our chest, getting kicked out of this car park. And by the time we got down to the bikes, there was 4 or 5 staff members hanging around, and there was half a dozen customers hanging around. So, of course, we got the Braaap stickers out, and we're handing them out, we're telling our stories. And everyone wanted to see what this commotion was about. Why are these guys getting kicked out of our car park? And after 25 minutes or 30 minutes, the owner looked up at the sales manager we'd been speaking to and said, well, do you want the bikes or not? And, of course, the sales manager had just been kicked out of the car park. He's not going to say yes after all that.
Yeah.
So he just said nothing, just dead silence, most awkward minute of silence you'll ever meet. And the owner said, boys, pack your stuff up. I'm taking my guys back to the office. When you're packed up, we're going to come down and we want to have a chat to you. So anyway, we didn't pack our stuff up. We kept talking to the customers and giving out stickers. And after about half an hour, the owner come back down and he goes, you guys just don't take no for an answer. We said, no, we don't. And he said, well, we've gone from kicking you out of our car park to let's do business together. And that's how we got the biggest dealer in the country. And it's all about seeking rejection because firstly, we know the value of every rejection. We know on dealerships rollout, our average conversion rate is about 10%. So we know we've worked out the value. And just for the sake of this example, let's say the average dealer purchases $100,000 worth of stock off us in their first order. We know that 10% conversion rate, it takes 9 rejections before we finally get that $100,000 order. So we make our people realize that every rejection is worth $10,000. So at the end of a rejection, we sit back and we have a laugh about, the position, how we got rejected. We talk about how we're going to, overcome the rejection. And also to make sure that our people are equipped and empowered by seeking this rejection, we make it fun. So if you get cold called by a Braaap staff member, I just about guarantee they'll have a blonde mullet wig on and they'll have aviator sunglasses on. They'll be in the office and it's fun. It's a good culture.
Love it. They're just relaxing themselves into the cold call.
Exactly.
It's a massive story you just told, Brad, and one that, I think for many listeners going, I could never do that. I mean, you're a bloke, you're an extrovert, I'm guessing. You got more front than Myers. You're kind of out there and you're willing to have a go. It's your business. It's do or die. And for many listeners, it's their businesses too. But, mate, if you don't have that ability to really kind of just persevere and not take no for an answer, what do you say to listeners, to action that big stuff, to think really big and to find the guts to do it?
Yeah, well, firstly, I grew up as the quietest kid in school. I never spoke. I was, I was the quiet guy, and I had to learn to speak and share my story because I knew that was a part of our growth, and it scared the hell out of me to start with. All that stuff scared the hell out of me. It still does,
So is it practice? Is it like, you just got to try it? I was talking to a mate the other day, and we're talking about this whole fear thing. And on the other side of fear, it's not as big as you think. Often the problem that it seems so insurmountable isn't really that big.
Yeah, it's so true. I think you just got to be possessed by vision, and when you do, you don't think about that crap. If you're possessed by a vision, you don't have time to assess whether or not you're scared of this stuff. Yep. I can't explain how scared we were once we'd got in the van and we're driving 12 hours to go visit this guy who said no to us. You question yourself, why the hell? It's 24-hour turnaround just on the road, let alone going there. And you got your two most important leaders of your business going to do it. We were scared as hell. I think that vision possesses you with the ability to do that kind of stuff because it doesn't get any easier. But, a story that I share to our guys, and we're talking about just the other day, is that no one's immune to fear, but everyone's got the ability to attach empowering or disempowering meaning to fear. And an example I was sharing with the guys the other day, one of my favorite riders in Supercross. Now, anyone on the podcast who doesn't know Supercross, you need to Google it, YouTube it. It's awesome. It's the sport where we race dirt bikes inside stadiums and they do 75-foot jumps. Awesome sport. Anyway, my favorite rider is Kevin Windham this year and in America. And Kevin retired at the end of the season. And in his departing speech and interview, the journalist said, "How do you know that it's time to hang up the boots? How do you know it's time to retire?" And Kevin said, "Well, as I walk towards the start line, I can feel my hands sweat through my gloves. I can feel my heart beat out of my chest. As I sit on my bike and look at the track and visualize the race, I just get weak with nerves. I shake with nerves." He goes, "That's how you know you're ready to retire. That's how you know that it's time to hang up the boots." Mm-hmm. The greatest rider of all time, his name is Ricky Carmichael. They call him the GOAT, GOAT, greatest of all time. Now, Ricky was in his prime in Supercross, maybe 6 years ago. And I got an interview where an interviewer said to him, "Ricky, how do you know that you're ready to win?" And Ricky said, "As I walk up to the start line, pushing my bike, thinking about my race, I can feel my heart beat out of my chest. I can feel my stomach turn with nerves." He goes, "As I sit on my bike, put my helmet and my goggles on, visualize the race, look back at my competitors and picture about what's to happen, I can feel my hands sweat through my gloves and I just shake with nerves." He goes, "That's how you know you're ready to race Supercross. That's how you know you're ready to win." I thought, isn't that interesting? Yeah. Same feeling. One was good and retired. One was the greatest of all time.
Love it. In fact, only yesterday I was reading an article about REM, one of my favourite bands of all time, and I could never figure out why they retired. And the interview with them in Rolling Stone magazine was talking about the fact the guys were just talking about the fact that they felt at the top of their game, and it was time to just go, you know what, this is a good time to leave. We feel like it's right. Why hang out till the end?
Yeah.
So. I love that, mate. Hey, I think that's a really good point to finish on because we've started a vision and we've finished at vision. That whole notion of if you're clear on your vision, if you're clear on your why, then the biggest stuff that seems insurmountable all of a sudden doesn't seem like that anymore. So, mate, I got to. Have I left anything out? I know I have. Time is not our friend here, so I do want to wrap it up. But, mate, is there anything that I should have asked you?
Oh, I've loved the interview. You're great at digging deep and digging through to see what's going on. I love your podcast, and it's great to share, stories from other small business people. I love hearing that sort of stuff from anyone as well, because it's important to understand that whatever the problems we're having, wherever we are in business, someone's already been there or someone's there right now. So I love hearing from people who are down in the trenches. And I think I told you earlier, we got a system that we created, which we implemented to business, which is all the systems that we've used to grow. And we use that to go out to businesses and help them find clarity and certainty. And most importantly, create science and maths around their growth process. Because so many people, their growth strategy is based on hope. And hope's not a growth strategy. So I love hearing stories like yours and the podcasts, hearing from people who are down in the trenches and, swinging above their weight.
Small Business Owners Unite. Brad Smith from Braaap. I've absolutely loved having this fireside chat with you. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you guys for having me. And can you do me one favor? Can you go Braaap?
Braaap.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Well, I hope you got as much from that interview as I did. What an excitable, passionate guy. We love that on Small Business Big Marketing. I got a whole lot of learnings from it. I'd love to hear what yours are. Here's mine. Number one, be clear on your vision. I think we've touched on that before. It's clearly important, team. So if you're not clear on your vision, why you do what you do, I think it's time to get clear on it and share it with your staff, your suppliers, your family, your friends, anyone who wants to hear it. Embed it in your mind. Number two, offer an experience. I think this is important, just as important if you're a service provider as it is if you are a retailer. The whole concept of retail is dead. Yeah, absolutely. And experience and having that whole concept store mentality is a good one, but I think it can just as apply equally to service providers. So offer an experience, build a brand, build that emotion. Number three, have fun. What about that story of the sales guy wearing the mullet, wig and sunnies whilst making cold calls? Have fun, be comfortable, enjoy what you do, put a smile on your dial. It shows. Someone asked me the other day, why do I always sound so happy and motivated on the Small Business Big Marketing Show? And it's kind of because I love turning that microphone on and going yappity yap yap. It's it's my way of giving back, and I absolutely love it. And when you're in that zone, everything seems just that little bit brighter. So if you have got some learnings you want to share, I'd love you to head over to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com and leave a comment in the show notes section of this episode 153. Hey, next week we have got Tom Potter of Eagle Boys Pizzas. He took on Pizza Hut and won, and he's got some great stories to tell about how he started Eagle Boys and where it's at today. He's another motivated guy. He ain't 26. He's more like 52, but he's got some great stories to tell as well. Brings us to the end. Net Registry, we are here because of them. Head over to netregistry.com.au if you need any part of your online marketing sorted. I appreciate you listening to my show so much. So thank you. Until next time, may your marketing be the best marketing.
You've been listening to the Small Business Big Marketing Show with Tim Reid. Want more marketing goodness? Then visit smallbusinessbigmarketing.com.